Welcome to the Asheville View. I'm your host, Aisha Adams, and today we have an amazing show for you. We're going to have Myriam come on and talk about some really interesting things. But first, how are you two doing?
Fantastic as usual.
All right.
It's a beautiful day out today.
It's
a beautiful city.
It is, right? So the title of our show is If I Ruled the World. If you could change one thing about Asheville, what would it be?
I mean, it's such a beautiful city. A lot of us are here for a reason. It's a lot more diverse than a lot of places in this state. I would love to see it a little more diverse when it comes to, just because I'm a trilingual person and I'm a language teacher, and I love to hear more languages spoken here. I know that it's a deeper issue, and it relates directly to our educational system and the way we teach our kids foreign languages in our public schools, but it would be really, really good if we just make it, because so many times we try with my own students to do work in the community, but there aren't many community opportunities for you to go out and take your learning out somewhere where people speak another language, and it doesn't have to be French necessarily, but Spanish, Arabic, because we do have these people here. We have the diversity, but I feel like if I could change anything about it, I would make a lot of effort to make people speak another language, because I think it's really important for you to do that. That's the first step to learning more about a culture and accepting it and being more diverse and open. So that would be my thing.
I don't know if I would change wages or the cost of living in Asheville. Like, one of them's got to go, or both of them got to go. Like one of them's got to go one direction. Because it's so hard to find housing here without having to have roommates.
Yeah.
And I found that put me in a pickle. Like, a lot of the time, you find this house, and then you got to find 3 other roommates. Then you got to get approved by your landlord. It's this whole process. It's really hard to find housing here, and then it's a little bit more expensive than it should be. And honestly, I'm one of those people, I got to live by myself.
Right.
And I think that, I mean, obviously living by yourself is going to be a little bit more expensive, but it shouldn't be like impossible.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And we have that issue. Just from my own perspective, seeing these amazing teachers that we've lost over the years just because they could move to South Carolina, 45 minutes away, 90 minutes away, and then they could afford a lot more than they could here. And we need good teachers, and that really makes me sad that these people, I mean, amazing, have moved all over, and their main issue is not being able to afford housing. They were okay with we don't all get paid well as teachers in the whole state, but Asheville in particular was really, the teachers were hurting from not being able to afford housing, which is crazy.
Or you've got to live way out of the city. And then, like, if you're like me and you don't drive, our bus system is not the best.
No.
So it's really hard for people who don't drive to afford living in the city to get to their jobs that are probably in the city.
Right.
It's just, the whole system. It's just like, we don't have the best public transportation. If you want to afford living, you got to live way out, and you're going to need a car, which is probably going to cost as much as kind of living in town. It's just,
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I think if I could change, I can't tell if it would be parking or education, because Dorian's like grown now and I homeschool, so I'm kind of like out of that realm. But as a community member, I do want the kids to learn more and to have better education. Because I used to tell my kids this when I taught school, like, listen, I don't want to be the old lady at the pharmacy trying to order, and you're the pharmacy tech, and you make a mistake and kill me because you can't read the medicine bottle.
That's a really good point.
You do not want Miss Johnson swinging her cane at you across the counter. So it's either that or parking, because like I had like 3 parking tickets this year already, and I spend about $4 a day on parking when I come to town.
Right.
So I'm trying my best to kind of balance it all out. Parking is tough here.
It is.
It is.
It really is.
If the public transportation was better, I'd walk more when I came to town. I just park and walk for the rest of the day.
Right. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't live close enough to town to be able to take public transportation.
And it's not as, sorry.
Is this a sneak diss about where I live?
Yeah. It's a trip. It's a voyage.
Well, it's also not as like it doesn't rotate as quickly either.
Right.
So like if you want to catch the bus at the airport, that comes like every hour and a half, and it's not as like quick.
But those would be great jobs, right? Like if they increased it and like added more jobs, like the bus driver makes pretty decent wage.
How about a train? I mean, think about it. How about a train?
Yeah,
Oh
DC
my
was
gosh.
great. And I was
Train in the
DC,
city.
because I
Or like
walked
go
a lot.
from one city to another.
Yeah,
Like have a train.
like in DC, like the Metro
Oh,
or the MARTA in Atlanta.
Where are they gonna put
Atlanta.
that?
Yeah.
It would go underground. Kirby's like, how?
Kirby.
How are you gonna do that? It's not our job to figure it out.
I know, right? So I grew up taking the train like this summer when I was in Morocco. It was all public transportation. My family has cars, but they don't. Like my dad just prefers to walk everywhere because it's so accessible. And he's older, so he likes to get his exercise. That's his daily exercise. And so he rarely gets his car out. Really just walks, takes public transportation, and it was really cool for my kid to experience that too, because we would take super cheap buses or Ubers everywhere, and then to travel, the train system is so amazing, just from one city to another. I remember taking a train from the capital, which is Rabat, all the way to Tangier, which I'm talking the border to go to Spain, in an hour and 15 minutes. It was so amazing. It was so nice. There's a little cafeteria there. And then so you go from one place to another, travel, totally comfortable, very affordable, and very comfortable. And another thing that I really loved in the capital is that they had a metro system that literally went all over town.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's busier than others, so it's a little bit of a hassle, but it was just nice. And then you can get like a pass if you live there. So all the students were doing that. Basically everybody, even kids were riding. It's super safe. Again, comfortable, affordable. So it is doable, and it'll save so much on every level. So that's what that would be like, Kirby.
Moving from Birmingham to Washington, D.C., in Birmingham, you're like, oh, you're going to be on the bus. You must be poor. You can't afford a car. Like, you're waiting hours for transportation. Where when I moved to DC and being on the metro, like 1 minute you might be sitting next to a homeless person, but the next minute you might be sitting next to a judge. And so it's like, it really was a way to break down and build community. And I met so many wonderful people when I took the metro. And because I am an entrepreneur, like I wrote a novel when I wrote a book with a friend when President Obama, when he became president, and like I literally just sold my book on the metro, like my job. Like I would get up and get on the metro with my bus ticket, my metro ticket, and just sit there and be like, would you like to buy my book? How are you? How was work today? You know, and just sell my book. So I am a big proponent of metro transportation. It's a great way to build community.
It really is. Plus, you can just not worry about the commute in the morning. You can just get in, get your coffee and read, or take a little nap, you know, until you get there. You don't have to be focused and ready to go as soon as you get up.
So, final question. What is the one thing about Asheville you would absolutely not change?
The food. I feel like we have so many talented people and so many diverse places to eat, and that's what I really love about it. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship. And cocktails. There's a lot of diversity in food, which is great. A lot of fusion. A lot of people who are super motivated and passionate about what they do, because you know this is a foodie city now, so they can't really mess up that reputation. They have a reputation to hold, and I would not change that. Just going out to eat, which we don't do as often now with you know, work and responsibilities and a kid, especially late. But it's a treat. Every time you're going to go out, there's a new place. You know it's going to be amazing, and you look forward to it. It's very, very special. So that's something I wouldn't change.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change the food. Or the cocktails either.
I know.
I'd add a chicken joint. We need a chicken shack though, like one that just specializes in hot wings. But I doubt that.
I honestly don't want Asheville's general attitude to change. I would never change that. we're not perfect, but I think that
So
as a
stay
community,
weird.
stay weird, but like also like I feel like our community really cares about a lot of issues that a lot of communities don't focus on.
Right.
And I think that's really cool that we have such a positive mindset, and I wouldn't change that about Asheville.
Yeah. So the thing I wouldn't change about Asheville is just the scenery. It's like, I don't care how mad I get at my husband or like how many opportunities I miss as a person of color or what happens. When I do drive, and there is a lengthy drive to my house, like looking at those mountains, seeing that scenery, it really does feel like God's promise.
Yeah.
It feels very spiritual.
It's beautiful.
And it brings you sort of back to where, like your center, like this universe is bigger than me, it's more important than me, but I belong here. And so that's the one thing I wouldn't change. I just love the beauty of the city, the snow-capped mountains. And like when I share it with people, they're like, oh my God, like, is that a postcard? I'm like, no, I did this with my phone.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it looks like every day I wake up. And I'm really lucky to get to be here and experience that. And Ralph reminds me, he makes me go outside and play and hike and do that stuff. So, yeah. So, we'll be right back with the Asheville View.